Good morning and welcome back. It is early here. We're getting the day started. We are going to get a lot done today, or at least that is our hope. We are starting the day with the Quilting Corner, and we had a subscriber turn in some pictures today. Her name, I should have asked her how to pronounce it, and I apologize for this if I mess it up, but it is Julie Schossow, S-C-H-O-S-S-O-W. And she has turned in not one but two pictures of quilts from her grandparents. The first one was her paternal grandmother's, and it is a grandmother's flower garden. It was all hand stitched, and I'll show you the picture now of that. It is beautiful. The second picture of her quilt is from her maternal great grandmother's, and it is beautiful as well. It was given to her, the great grandmother, as a birthday present from her friends, and they've signed it. It is gorgeous. It's very old. She didn't know how old it was, but she knew it was really old. And when it was given to her, she's got the local write-up in the local newspaper from when it was given to her. So that is another treasure. Her grandmother's name was Nellie Noreen, and her mother's name was Laura B. This quilt is so pretty. What a treasure to have both of these quilts. Let me show you the picture of that second one. It is just as pretty as the first one. I'm so glad people hold on to these quilts. They are wonderful treasures and heirlooms. Tell a lot of history from years gone by, and it just brings back great memories to see things like these quilts. And I appreciate them, and I know a lot of you other people do too. So thank you for sending the pictures in, Julie. We appreciated your pictures. They are beautiful. So now let's head over to the sewing machine. I want to show you a quick tip that's something that I didn't even know until here recently. So let's go over there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So there's two things I wanted to show you today. One is, if you are like me, you have a plethora of seam rippers laying around, because inevitably I am using these seam rippers. I have one or two or three or 10 at every machine because I use them all the time. Now this is my favorite. This is an acrylic one that was made, handmade, and it's got a big side and a smaller side seam ripper. I love this one. But seam rippers are very important. We use them all the time. Nobody wants to use them, but inevitably everyone uses them. So I want to show you, a lot of you probably already know this, but for the longest time when I first started sewing, I didn't know this. I'm going to sew two pieces of fabric right sides together, and I don't care what kind of seam I'm doing. I'm just going to show you something on it. So when you sew a seam that you have to end up taking out, the first thing you think is that you're going to take, let me get the other side. You're going to take this side, the sharp side, and you're going to go through here and rip these seams out. Well, if you do, you're just about going to be going one stitch at a time. And you take the risk of ripping the fabric with that sharp point right there. So the correct way to use a seam ripper, and I've known this one for years, but the first several years that I was sewing, I didn't know this. You turn it the other way. The red ball is what you'll do. You've got your seam right here. You'll put that red ball down in the seam and then just push it through the stitches. It rips out multiple stitches at a time instead of one stitch at a time the other way. Now I'm left-handed, so it's harder to show you, but it's as easy as that. Normally, the other way, this would have taken a whole lot longer to undo these two pieces of fabric by using that pointed side. But if you use that red tip side, you're not going to rip the fabric. Chances are a lot more slim of ripping that fabric, and it goes a lot faster. So just a tip, if you didn't know that, you do now. There's that. And I wanted to show you one more thing. This one, I did not know until recently. Now, I've been sewing for years and years and years. I don't even want to admit how many years. But I didn't know this until recently. How I didn't know it, I don't know. But I love the Gutermann threads. And I love these little cases that I get because every color is in there. Here's my dark colors. Here's my little bit lighter colors. They're wonderful. But what I didn't know is most everybody knows that you can take this bottom portion of this thread and pop it out. And then you can, when you're winding it up, let's say I'm done with this thread now. I wind it up, I stick it in that little hole, close it up, and now my thread's not going to unravel. Okay, I knew that. I knew that part. This is the part I didn't know. You open it up. It's easier when you're not on camera. But you open it up, and this right here comes out, and it holds your needles. This holds your needles. How did I not know this? Watch this. I'll get me a needle out. I put it right in this compartment. I close it back up. And now when I'm ready to travel or when I'm ready to sit down at the couch and sew something, this thread has a needle inside it. Used to, I would take this needle and I would stick it like that on my thread. And that way, my thread and my needles were always together. But when I've got it in my bag and I'm traveling down the road and I'm trying to sew on the way, then this needle is going to get stuck in my bag and it could get caught on something. There's a lot of things that could happen. While I thought this was a great method for years, it's not. This other method is much better because when I open it back up, I pull that bottom out when I'm ready and my needle is right there waiting on me. I love that that compartment is there. I didn't know about it. I don't know how I didn't know about it, but I've learned something this week and I hope you guys have too. So that is it for today for the Quilting Corner. If you need anything, have any questions, you know the drill. Contact us in any way. We will help you however we can help you. So until next time, happy quilting.